There are more than 60,000 public servants in Ontario, and starting this month, all of them have to go back to work 5 days a week.
Changes to return to office rules for many workers in Ontario and across the country.
Ontario civil servants will be required to work in office full-time.
The new mandate by the province scraps remote work options many have used since the pandemic.
The Ontario government issued that directive last August, changing a pandemic-era policy that allowed for flexible workplace structures. Now, back then, Premier Doug Ford was supportive of government workers working from home.
More people are just moving up to the cottages and making it their home now and be able to work from home. I think that's the way of the future.
But now he's changed his tune, and many workers are not happy about it. So what's the big deal? People who work in offices had to go into work every single day before the COVID-19 pandemic. Why the pushback now? Well, it's because we know better. Researchers out of Carleton University recently looked at 1,500 federal bureaucrats in Ottawa who went back to the office for just 3 days a week in 2024. They found that remote workers produce a quarter less emissions than those who went into the office. The conclusion was that working even partly from home would ease congestion, cut commute times, and increase productivity. The study is a good indicator of what might happen in the province of Ontario, where transportation is the single largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. And now we're forcing about 60,000 government workers to be on the road every single day. Most of the provincial government offices are in Toronto, including the legislature, but not all government workers live in the city. So bringing them all back 5 days a week is going to put a huge strain on Ontario's already stressed roads and transit system. Whether you live in Toronto or not, you know that the commute here is not a walk in the park. Now, Doug Ford hates traffic. A major tenet of his last 7 years in office has been to just build more lanes. That includes Highway 413, which would cut through the Greenbelt to connect the suburbs north and west of Toronto. It also includes the Bradford Bypass, which would connect the city further north. Even if they were built, it wouldn't fix traffic or ease congestion. See, there's this concept called induced demand. More lanes on the highway means more cars on the road. Take the 401. It has 18 lanes on some stretches, and it's always packed. So will building a whole other highway, or two, really open things up on the congestion-prone 401? Maybe at first. But in the long run, no. It just means more cars will have more roads to drive on, according to experts. The government could ease all of this with tolls and congestion pricing. Instead, the Ford government has lifted provincial tolls off the usually quiet Highway 407 and outlawed congestion pricing in its most recent budget. And then there's transit, which is also struggling. I live in Mississauga, and when I commute to Toronto, it requires me to drive through construction of an LRT with no finish date to a station with very limited trains on tracks that have not been refurbished for a very, very long time. That means my train ride takes anywhere between 35 minutes to an hour, and that's not great. About 1 in 3 people use public transit to get around the Greater Toronto area, and yet the Ford government's most recent budget offers no new funding to improve transit services or make it more affordable. These are not good options for the over 60,000 government workers who have to go back to the office 5 days a week this month. It means more cars on the road and an increase in carbon emissions, which could easily be curbed with better public transit. We're keeping an eye on Ontario's plans for highways and much more. Find our latest stories at thenarwhal.ca/Ontario.